was originally approached about working on a TED Talk with people. I wanted to talk about an experience I had last year with a startup that crashed and burned. So I totally failed, and I wanted to talk about that. But then I said, you know what, that's a bit cliche. There are a lot of people that fail and talk about their failures, and I wanted to talk about something a little more centric to what I thought the audience was going to be, and then also the general theme of the talk, which was youth and a rebirth. And so I wanted to talk about this term that essentially has been termed pejorative, and that's a millennial. If you read The Atlantic, The New York Times, The Nation, call me a crazy liberal or something, but all these magazines, publications, whatever, they make us out to seem pretty bad. This is essentially what we're described as. I went through articles in The Atlantic, The New York Times, The Wall Street Journal, and these are some of your descriptive words that come up for people of the Millennial Generation. Okay, so people who were born in the range of 1980 to 2000. We're often described as a trophy generation, we've had helicopter parents, and this is what we've turned into. We're clueless, and we don't know what's out there in front of us. And I have to say, there's an element of truth in this, because what the popular media projects about millennials is this. They see girls, which I've watched the show on occasion. I'm not going to say I'm a devoted fan, but they see someone who's 25 years old and hopeless in New York. They see a girl writing about a 2-year-long job search, which absolutely happens all over the country, but this is what is continually projected, okay? Everything that is bad about this generation is amplified. And now, we might have a point, okay? We might have a point to be writing shows like Girls and editorials in the New York Times, because we do have a difficult time here, okay? We're fighting an economy that is arguably stacked against us. Okay, I like to call it neoliberalism. Over the past 20 years, we've seen a complete degradation of any type of welfare state, an increased privatization, and frankly, we have to live with that now. That's a fact. Politics don't seem to get any better either. As a Middle Eastern Studies major, I was elated that Obama got elected, and I thought for the first time we might have a president in a long time who doesn't vilify the Middle East. Boy, was I wrong. Because you can see the look on Mr. Spock's face up there. We have politicians who are full of contradictions, and they arguably lead us down a path to billions of dollars in debt. And then from a social angle, things also don't seem to be any rosier. And this is what is projected in what's in the media and what's written about us. But I know we have an uphill battle, but I really do think that there is hope, and there's more to be said than this, which is what is projected about us. We see angry, we see despair, we see depression, but we really can do a lot better. And I think that we need to start with the people who are in this room, because we need to realize what we've been given and what we can improve upon. We live in a world where we have iPhones, coffee, and time and space. David Harvey, a long time ago, came up with this theory that said the world has gotten smaller because of technology. Essentially, I can make a phone call to Singapore and be connected instantly and get on a plane and be there tomorrow. We need to use these material abundances to our advantage and overcome what's been given to us. I know if I'm given a day's worth of Starbucks coffee, I can stay up for 25 hours and make a couple presentations. With that work ethic, I think we can start to really make progress on some of these problems. So where do we find these leaders in all this negativity? I think we need to look in the room today, but we also need to look in places where we might not expect. Okay, and I think that there's a few reasons for this. The individual now is more important than ever. Okay, and this is something that I wanted to touch on in my slide earlier when I mentioned a neoliberal economy. But we've really been put in a situation where the individual makes the difference. And there's no I in team, I know, but there really is now. Someone, somewhere is required to really promote themselves. And I think TED and my talk and everybody else's talk really represents that today. There's an emphasis on the individual. But we can work together to not make the same mistakes that the generation before us did. And I think that a conversation that I had recently really amplifies this, because I was shocked to hear when I was talking to somebody at a climate change rally. I live in Amherst, Massachusetts, and there's all sorts of older liberal people that live out there, and I was at this rally, and there was this woman there, and she was wearing an anti-environment degradation pin or something like that. It was a very convoluted slogan. And I asked her, I said, why are you here today? And she said, well, she said, I really want the universities in this area, I live in the 5 college area, to divest all their money from any type of fossil fuel company. I said, okay, that's great. And I said, knowing the little I do about the stock market, I said, well, if people had done that in the past 5 years, they probably would have done well, because oil companies haven't gone anywhere. And she said, no, you're completely wrong. I make all my money from oil. The look of disbelief on my face, I can't even describe. That's what we need to change. And we can do it. We're smart, we're empowered, we have the tools, we have the technology, and we need to avoid that. Thank you.